Nelson Jordan. I'm Chris Nelson. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube page, follow us on all of our social media pages, and listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Discussing some NFL today, some unfortunate injury news has been confirmed. Malik Nabers, the Pro Bowl wide receiver for the New York Giants, has torn his ACL, will miss the remainder of the season, the final 13 games. We will also be discussing the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins and the Cincinnati Bengals at the Denver Broncos. So, Nelson, let's go ahead and start off with the horrible news that we knew was coming. We discussed this a little bit in our Red Zone review covering the Week 4 Sunday afternoon slate of games. If you haven't listened to that for everyone else, please go ahead and do so, and you'll be able to hear some of our brief thoughts on Malik Nabers, as it was assumed he had torn his ACL and reported at the time. It has now been confirmed. So, Nelson, what are your thoughts on the outlook for the New York Giants for these final 13 games now without their Pro Bowl wide receiver?
To say that it's going to be rather glum would be rather the best case scenario. I mean, you lose your best receiver, and now you're having to utilize everything underneath. He was the receiver that would take everything over the top, and it's just so unfortunate. And that stadium has been notorious for just taking players as ACLs. I don't know what it is with MetLife and the Meadowlands in general and those stadiums up there, but there was a not a good stat, but a real stat that apparently there have been 14 ACL tears in recent memory, if not that field, the turf in general, and that specific type of turf field. So not good. This does impact them greatly. And for Jackson Dart to lose the best weapon on the offense to give him any confidence, I mean, it's just more, I don't want to say recipe for disaster, but I mean, at this point, like, Dayball is going into a war with no shield, but just, a single armor of weapon of choice at this point. He's got nothing else to protect them at this point. So it doesn't, it's not good for the Giants. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we touched on this for the most part, not just yesterday, but on the whole, really. We've touched on this enough. I feel that Brian Dable should not have been brought back as head coach to begin with. Now you're taking away his really only star on offense, with all due respect to left tackle Andrew Thomas, who is also consistently hurt and missed the start of this season and is playing limited snaps. You have a rookie quarterback. You have a rookie running back. Your second-year running back, Tyrone Tracy, is hurt and didn't play against the Chargers on Sunday, and we'll see how many games he misses, if any more, and what that looks like. And so realistically, it just doesn't look good. You look like you're in a bad position, and so we'll see
Right.
what happens these final 13 games, but it's really going to be a lot about, and that's a lot of games with a lot of time to go. We'll be able to evaluate the full picture when we get into the new year. But you're looking at, you have a second-year running back in Tyrone Tracy, you have a rookie running back in Cam Scadaboo, you have a rookie quarterback in Jackson Dart, and you have a second-year wide receiver in Malik Nabers. He's the one guy who's already proven to be a star. It looks like he can be a superstar. This hopefully won't be a massive setback to that. That would be very unfortunate if that is the case. We would hate to see it. We hope to see Andrew
Question.
Thomas be able to get healthy, have a fully healthy offseason. Maybe we can see what that offense looks like, but who's going to be the coach? Who's going to be the play caller? So for right now, I just have no optimism about the Giants, and I didn't to begin with, and now you take away the star. I've lost it. Go ahead.
No, the simple question was, I was just curious. Do you know? I should know this, but what was the year that Malik Nabers got drafted?
Last year. This is his second season. He was a rookie last year. He missed
He
two
was a
games
rookie
with a
last year.
concussion, but in his
Okay.
15 games, I think he had 109 receptions. I believe it was a rookie record.
Yeah.
He made the Pro Bowl as a rookie despite missing those two games. That many receptions despite missing two games. And he had some drops last year, some significant ones. I mean, it's remarkable to think what he could be. I don't know what his yardage total was, but it was large as well. I think he had
Okay.
70% receptions. He's a special talent, and he's another one of those LSU products. I mean, his LSU teammate in that draft class, Brian Thomas Jr., we see what he's done. So it's very
hmm
unfortunate. Did you have
It
anything
is.
else on it?
No, just get well wishes, man. Get speedy
Absolutely.
recovery, Malik.
Yeah, that's what's important to us. We have a hard time talking about this because we want to watch that guy play football at the high level we've seen him at. The Miami Dolphins defeated the New York Jets 27-21. Quincy Williams, the linebacker for the Jets, did not play. Even more unfortunately, and we're just talking about Malik Neighbors, Tyreek Hill, star wide receiver for the Dolphins, on the opening drive of the second half, went down with what appeared to be a very significant injury. Based on the reactions of the players, what we saw from it, he was carted off, he was taken to the hospital. It's reported to be a dislocated kneecap. It looks like his season is likely over too. We will find out, but that was very unfortunate. But in terms of the game itself, what were your takeaways?
I'll touch on Tyreek Hill just for just a second. That injury to himself, that could be career changing too, just because of his age, and that's his best attribute. So, best wishes to Tyreek. I hope you recover fast enough that maybe you can get back on the field again. But if not, I hope you have other endeavors in your future. Now, in regards to the game, I thought the game was extremely sloppy by both teams. I thought this was a how can I say this? It was a better game than the other one, the Monday Night Doubleheader. But obviously, Miami just made more plays when it counted, and the New York Jets, in my opinion, shot themselves in the foot too many times when they could have taken control of this game. We saw Braylon Allen getting a carry, running and about to run to the end zone with it, but subsequently he drops the ball. There were three fumbles together by the Jets, one also by Justin Fields, inexplicably as well. So it was just not a good game overall by the New York Jets. I thought the New York Jets came out flat too at times. Aaron Glenn is always hyping these guys up, and I think Aaron Glenn, I think you need to maybe sit a reality check on yourself and understand that this is the rebuild and this is, not the team that's going to be big in your eyes, but they just need to grow. And as far as Miami's concerned, we saw what, HM can always do. He had a big game himself. I believe it was 20 for 99 and a touchdown. We saw God, did he wake up from the grave just like the Undertaker did? Waller? Darren Waller came out and two touchdowns, two touchdown grabs, but one of them you could say was a busted coverage. Another one was just a nice play call by McDaniels. But either way, I mean, it was sloppy overall. Both teams, you could definitely tell, were bottom of the barrel teams. And congrats to Miami for winning the game. But, as they always say, at what cost? Like, Thanos and Avengers, right? At what cost? And it happened to be Hill, unfortunately. What's your take?
Yeah, the Jets' execution was just unbelievably poor. It's hard to imagine a team executing at that poor level. I believe they had 13 accepted penalties, two more that weren't accepted because the Dolphins made the play anyway, which just takes it a step further of how poor the Jets executed. Countless missed tackles, three lost fumbles. It was very poor. I do want to note on the Braylon Edwards fumble was definitely forced. That was not stealing play
Braylon,
by the
yeah, yeah,
defender.
yeah, right.
Yeah, great play by the defender. That being said, I mean, it was immensely frustrating. But look, it wasn't outside of that, which I will admit, there was a point in time, I think it was late in the second quarter, when the Jets had like five or six procedural penalties in a row, and I almost threw my remote at the TV. I just almost lost it. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. It was
Hmm.
ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. How do you have that happen? But the game itself, if we were able to get past that, which I have a hard time doing, was entertaining for the most part. And I agree with you. The Dolphins looked good, and if they hadn't lost Tyreek Hill, I can only imagine how good they may have looked. I understand the Jets were without Quincy Williams, and he's a former All-Pro linebacker, and his brother is the star defensive tackle for the team, and that's a big absence. But it is what it is, and the Dolphins came out and they drove the ball down the field, and I think there's questions about whether or not that was pass interference. And the Jets, those cornerbacks, by the way, as good as Sauce Gardner is, they've got to get it figured out and stop blaming the officials for, if you're making contact, it's a foul. If you want to not be called for penalties, don't make contact with the opposing receiver at all. You can find a way to do your job and be a great cover corner without doing that if you're really that good. I'm tired of hearing the chatter. It's another topic,
Yeah.
though, but you can make a case for Miami. Maybe that's pass interference. Maybe it cost him a touchdown set up for the field goal. But to force that fumble on the goal line, I mean, he was going in the end zone for a touchdown. The Jets looked great. They were
He
running the
was.
ball right down their throats. They were completing passes, ding and dunk. It's
Hmm.
what we thought the
Hmm.
offense would look like. They were executing it. And then it just turned, and the Dolphins marched on the field and scored a touchdown. On the whole, I thought Tua Tagovailoa looks really good. Not great. He still had some overthrows. The receivers were covered in those cases. They likely would have been incomplete passes anyway, but you'd like to see him give his guys a chance. It's hard to fathom why Darren Waller was not in the National Football League last year. I can't figure that out. Maybe he wanted a year off, or Rob
I thought he
Gronkowski
was
same
injured.
situation. well, then that would be a Rob Gronkowski type situation. Not putting him in the same class, not even close, but just as another tight end who took a year off and came back. And obviously, we've seen other players do that over time.
Right.
But it is odd, and now we see him out there. He missed the first 2 games. That was obviously with injury, but you're right. Those 2 touchdown catches, not just that he had 2 touchdown catches, he looks really good, especially in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Some other plays. I mean,
yep.
He played well. He was a weapon for them, and they needed that with Tyreek Hill going down. And to touch on Tyreek Hill, he was off to a heck of a start in the game. What do you have, like 5 receptions, 66 yards? I mean, he was tremendous. I think every reception he had was a first down. He looks great.
Mm-hmm.
So it was devastating to see heartbreaking. I agree. His long-term future, I believe he's 31 years old. It's his 10th year in the league. That's the concern. That was the first thing I thought when he went down is, are we going to see him again? And if we do, what does that realistically look like? Because he's likely not going to have that speed, that burst anymore. And how unfortunate is that? Because he really is one of the great wide receivers of all time. I'm going to
I remember specifically people were talking about it prospectively on Tyreek Hill, and we really grew up watching a marvel of an athlete. And I'll take a 30-second bite here just to congratulate Tyreek Hill. There's never going to be a player like him with his speed, his ability to jump at the point and go get the ball as well. For even his height that he does have, I mean, he's great with his jump skills. And also the ability just to, track the ball is supreme. I can't comprehend. And for him not having other attributes, it's really going to be tough, especially for him not having that leg normal, right? Because once you already kind of break it down, that leg is never going to be the same. So as much as, we both want to be negative too, I do want to bring, I guess, one positive point. What do you think about the jerseys, the Vice City jerseys that the Miami Dolphins unveiled? I thought those were pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I concur absolutely. I'm loving this rivalry series and what we're doing, and obviously it's going to be going on for years to come. You have a couple divisions doing it this year, and we'll have more to come. I think the Dolphins are in a fortunate position where that aqua blue is one of the best colors. It's so cool looking to begin with, so they always have some of the best uniforms, and I love when they meld the orange in with them. It's a little bit like the Hurricanes in Miami, the team in college. So they meld the orange and that looks cool, and they did that in the uniforms in the darker color. I thought they were awesome. I really think the Dolphins always have some of the best uniforms. I do, and so that was sweet. And Miami is so beautiful to begin with, and it just plays so perfectly off of it. So that was awesome. In terms of Tyreek Hill, I'll come back to that another time. Let's find out the specifics on the injury and what the expectations are for his future. And it's going to be a step-by-step process, but I will one day be able to touch on his career. I hope that this isn't the end of it, even if he's not the same.
Me too.
But that aside, I do want to touch on some more thoughts from the game. I liked Mike McDaniel's play calling. He actually handed the ball off to Devon Achane a lot. You mentioned the stats. I mean, that 22 carries you said, that's a good number of carries, just shy of 100 yards. I almost wish he got another carry just to get to the century mark. I mean, 99 yards kind of sucks, but it is what it is. In terms of, it's right there, you get to that triple digits, but yeah, I'm very happy with that, and we see the result. I don't care who they were playing. I mean, that's the way he needs to call plays. I've been saying it for years. It worked, so stick with it. And I don't think Ollie Gordon II had much of an impact, the rookie running back, but, I would like to see him get involved playing as well because his power is a nice complement to Devon Achane's speed, and Achane is such a good receiver. We didn't see much of that last night. They didn't need to have that weapon, but going forward without Tyreek Hill and all,
I agree.
They probably will.
They will use both.
There's some good things there. On the Jets side of things, look, they managed to have it a close game. They had the ball at the end with a chance at a miracle. It didn't happen. A couple plays have to be acknowledged, though. I believe they only had 2 touchdowns, right? So let's talk about the 2 touchdowns. The Justin Fields touchdown run was absolutely spectacular. I mean, shades of Marcus Allen. That was unbelievable. For him to go over
nice scramble.
Like all those guys missed to go back to their way. He was great running all night. He had a 2-point conversion where, again, like you talked about a previous play, backdoor and just walked into the end zone. He had a nice run on the opening drive. Maybe it was the second drive. The field goal he kicked at the long field goal that Nick Folk in year 19 now made. He was rookie back in 2007 with the Dallas Cowboys, Pro Bowler, I believe that year. I think the only time in his career he has been. And to see him make, was it a 58-yard field goal to end the half, maybe give them some momentum. It didn't work out that way, but that was good. And then Garrett Wilson had a good game, and that touchdown catch he had was absolutely incredible. I wish they would have tossed the ball up to him some more and seen if he could just go moss some defenders and make some plays. I mean, you got backup quarterbacks out there for the Dolphins, and Jack Jones and Rasul Douglas. And with all due respect, Jack Jones is the one who forced the fumble on Braylon Allen. I said Edwards earlier, didn't I? I'm sorry, Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen. This is once again just like yesterday. I can't remember names. So Braylon Allen. that he's the one who forced the fumble on him on the opening drive. So, you know what? It's like you said. At least we got a close game. Is entertaining, but just infuriating with the Jets' poor execution. And I don't want to put it on Aaron Glenn because that franchise is a problem, and you could see how upset he was with it. Whether it was the halftime interview, I'm sure there were post-game comments made by him about how upset he was, so on and so forth. And so, anything else on this one before we move on?
No, I don't have anything else other than, the Jets have a good coach, and I hope he's able to change the culture going forward. And whatever losses they do have near Jets, I mean, hey, listen, just take these all with a grain of salt at the end of the day. And Justin Fields, just try to get better. I mean, because you do have the talent. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I concur, and I agree. Aaron Glenn is an easy guy to root for. Maybe like a Mike Tomlin I could throw out there. I don't know if that's fair or not, or maybe there's some others I could name. But I think Aaron Glenn seems very likable, and we wish the best from root for him. And I agree with the Justin Fields point. And we could keep going. The Denver Broncos beat the Cincinnati Bengals 28-3. No Joe Burrow for the Bengals. Jake Browning got the start at quarterback. No Dre Greenlaw at outside linebacker for the Denver Broncos. This was a rematch of what was an absolute classic game last year. In my opinion, that may have been the game of the year last year. It was certainly in the conversation. It was unbelievable, but of course Joe Burrow was the starting quarterback in that one. That one was played in Cincinnati. Very different story what we saw last night, and what were your takeaways?
It's obvious when you don't pay when you don't pay all your players or when you don't have adequate money and you're the owner of the Bengals and you continue this, how can I say this bluntly, cheap route of not even wanting to put any armor in front of your quarterback, then what do you expect? I mean, Burrow went down with an injury. Burrow is what keeps the organization afloat. And now we've seen Browning. And Browning, even though last year he might have been very serviceable in other games,
Two
we've
years
seen
ago.
it. Well, 2 years ago, yeah. To be fair, he had a better offensive line than what you guys have now. I mean, it's crazy. It's maddening. You should the offensive line from back then. They had Jonah. They had I think somebody else too at some point. Those guys
That's
have
that's been the
th-
conversation with the Bengals throughout Joe Burrow's. This
no, no,
is
no.
it's been a regular season
But what I'm
throughout the
but what
2020s
I'm
so far. That the
but what
offensive line's been
I'm
garbage.
right. But what I'm leading my point to the next. So my point is what I'm trying to say is they could not sustain any drives, and this is why the score was what it was. All they had was the first drive of the game, which led to a field goal, and after that, they averaged what 6 plays a game. Browning was
Almost
getting
6 plays in a
subject to
drive. That's what
yeah
you're
6 plays
saying.
to drive, pretty much. Yeah,
They
it
had
was averaging.
under 140 yards of total offense, I believe,
Yeah,
while
that's
the
what I'm saying.
Broncos had almost 500. I think 465 or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
That's just a joke.
it was a joke. It was a nightmare. So either way, long story short,
And it
yeah,
was under
when you
160 of offense, but still, it's horrible.
yeah. So again, when you can't even hold the ball, you can't even give your defense rest, then you got literally the Denver Broncos just playing backyard football over you the entire game, and that's exactly what happened. And I feel really bad for Jamar Chase. He was being very mature about his post-game comments and everything else, but he is now locked in the cage, and I do feel bad because he is one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL, and he just can't help his team. Now we saw Bo Nix. He was able to make a lot of great passes. We saw finally Evan Ingram come out and finally have a good game after being so hobbled for so many past weeks. We saw the running back J.K. Dobbins having over 100 yards rushing. We also saw the contributions by R.J. Harvey. But
Yeah,
ultimately, at the
running
end of the
back.
day, I mean, Cincinnati Bengals, you guys are just free falling at this point, and the Denver Broncos just they're continuing their momentum and just trying to get better. I don't have anything else to say because that was the whole game in a snapshot.
Yeah, I thought Jake Browning was absolutely horrible. I thought, first of all, the matchup between the best wide receiver in the league and Jamar Chase and the best cornerback in the league, the reigning defensive player of the year, and Pat
It was
Surtain
fun.
II, was what we wanted to see. And Pat Surtain II shut him down completely. I mean, he completely strapped him and just shut him down. And that was the end of the story. Even more so than he did when the two teams faced off last year, which the big story then became T. Higgins having a monster game. And in the opening drive, you said they went down and got the field goal, and T. Higgins mossed Riley Moss. That's kind of funny, isn't it? But and Riley Moss, is the guy playing opposite of Pat Surtain II, and all throughout last year, he was picked on because of that, and he did not hold his end of the bargain, quite frankly. But they chose to stick with him, and we'll see. And T. Higgins got him a couple times last night, but outside of that, it just didn't seem like Jake Browning could really deliver, and he had a chance to give T. Higgins an opportunity, which probably the catches he made, but give him an opportunity in the end zone at the end of the drive, and he overthrew it, and they had to settle for the field goal, and then they did nothing on offense the rest of the game. It was just a joke. Credit to that Denver defense, and I can only imagine if Trey Greenlaw had played what that would look like. I understand Joe Burrow's out, but regardless of that, I mean, that was unbelievable. They are just completely dominant. That dominant Denver defense was so impressive. It really was. I don't care who was at quarterback. That was impressive to watch. And again, Patrick in the second was exceptional. But all of that aside, let's talk a little bit about the Broncos offense. You mentioned it. The running backs were tremendous. J.K. Dobbins, great game. The rookie running back, R.J. Harvey is his name.
R.J. Harvey.
Yeah, out of UCF. Who started his career as a quarterback before moving to running back. And to see him do that as both a rusher and a receiver, I mean, he was very impressive. But it was 28-3. There's just and 20 and an answer for the Broncos to close it out after the Bengals kicked that opening drive field goal. There's only so much to talk about here. It's pretty miserable to watch, frankly.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we saw
And
Troy Aikman just getting pissed off by the Bengals every other
justifiably so.
series.
Well, but the crazy thing to me was, and let's talk about the money a little bit. You had to pay Joe Burrow. You had to pay Jamar Chase. You had to pay Trey Hendrickson. Those are your guys. You did not have to pay T. Higgins. Joe Burrow wanted you to pay T. Higgins. Now Joe Burrow, once again, for the third time in 6 seasons, is out for the year, not playing. So where's the value in T. Higgins? I don't care who's at quarterback. He needs to go make plays. Say what you about Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. T. Higgins has not proven to be worth the money he's being paid. They've just decided that he might be, and so let's go ahead and pay him that. And that's where you can't have the offensive line. They had rookies starting at both guard spots. Orlando Brown is supposed to be the guy at left tackle, and he's simply not. And that defense outside of Trey Hendrickson, I mean, how much can Trey Hendrickson realistically do? You can only rely on him so much when you have no one else.
Yeah.
I don't care who the defensive coordinator is. You can say that's an upgrade all you want, but it doesn't look like it. The Broncos missed so many plays. I mean, there were constant times when Bo Nix did make poor plays and mess up. And it seemed like every time they missed a play, it didn't matter. They just came back the next play or the play after that or both and made those plays and wound up scoring anyway or moving the ball at least to put their defense in favorable positions. And that obviously worked out extremely well. And so it just seemed like the Bengals defense couldn't do anything. They were just flat out awful. Again, this was the story all of last year, and this is what we saw yet again. And look, I give credit to the Broncos receivers, and on the whole, yes, Bo Nix had a great game. Outside of the interception, the end zone was just a horrible play on the fourth down.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, just run the ball up the middle there. I mean, that's better than putting the ball on the 20, as dumb as that touchback rule is. Spectacular reception by the rookie linebacker, by the way. All the credit in the world to him, but what a horrible decision. What a horrible throw from Bo Nix. Big mistake. I know they got the ball back and scored the touchdown right before the end of the half anyway, and obviously 28-3. I mean, okay, so you would have went 35-3 best case. It doesn't really matter, but that's what I saw. That's what I had. What do you got?
Yeah, yeah. For me, I mean, anytime you play the Cincinnati Bengals on defense, no matter who you are, you're gonna have a breakout. It's like literally the what they call it in the NFL. It's the game that you need. There's a phrase to say it. I forget what it is, but the get right game. And heck, I mean, not to say the Broncos didn't need to get right game, but they made Marvin Mims, who's the third best receiver on that team, look like he was the number one target the entire game. Bo Nix was looking for him everywhere, all game long. I mean, Marvin Mims, yeah, he only had like maybe, I think, 40 some yards or something like that, but he had quite a number of targets. And normally in a game, he's only getting deep shots. So, I mean, it's honestly, it really does put a damper on what Cincinnati can do. Like you said, Chris, I'm in complete agreement with you. T. Higgins, I don't think he brings the same value to what his contract is. And that's because solely of Joe Burrow. Without Joe Burrow, I mean, he shouldn't be getting paid that dollar amount. I agree. But other than that, that's my last comment.
Yeah, I'll just throw out a couple more things. I think there's a case to be made that Marvin Mims is as good, if not better, than Troy Franklin and could be considered the number 2 wide receiver on that team. Cortland Sutton's the undisputed number 1 wide receiver. But I think if we're talking receivers as a whole, Evan Ingram, I know he's a tight end, but he should be one of their top 2 receivers along with Cortland Sutton. But yeah, I think Marvin Mims Jr. is in that conversation with Troy Franklin, and we'll see how that goes game to game. But outstanding returner for Marvin Mims Jr.
Yeah.
Threat. Yeah, he does some stuff. The only other thing I wanted to say, and it's another negative comment, the game sucked. Okay, let's get real. It was a flag fest. That was infuriating. Again, in that game, I almost threw my remote at the TV every time they threw a flag. It was exhausting. We saw so many stupid penalties. They were dumb penalties. How many pre-snap procedural penalties we see from the Jets and then in this game from both teams? I mean, oh my gosh, guys, stop with the pre-snap procedural penalties. It's exhausting. It's horrible. That should never happen. You're NFL players on NFL teams. It's inexcusable to see it that often.
You want me to give you a funny stat and for everybody to know? There was an
Yeah,
image that ESPN put up during the same game. The Cincinnati Bengals had 16 total penalties when they only had 9 first downs.
I saw that.
You t
It's
That was
embarrassing.
insane.
How do you commit that many penalties, and then how do you not occur that few first downs, regardless of how good the defense is, regardless of who's at quarterback, and how does that actually? It's just embarrassing. Let's leave it at that. For Nelson
Yeah.
Jordan, I'm Chris Nelson. This has been the first and final word.